Hey, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I know that my videos have been watched in UK, Australia, America, all that. So anyway, welcome. And today I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about narcissistic parents and the 10 things that you're going to deal with when you have a narcissistic parent. There are tons of YouTube channels, tons of blogs and articles that talk about how to deal with narcissistic ex-partners, people you've been intimate with. And there's so much good information out there, so much. However, when it comes to actually dealing with narcissistic parents, I notice there's not as much information. There's a lot of information out there, but there's not that much. And this was brought about, or sparked, if I should say, by a conversation that I was having the other day with Say No to Narcs. Actually, she was doing a live and I was on the chat, and she mentioned something about how narcs behave in their old age. And it kind of sparked me to reflect on what I observed with my own narcissistic parent and what I observed with other narcissistic parents. And these are the 10 things that you're going to have to know about narc parents. Okay, the first one is stability for a narc parent is non-existent, which means they're going to live their life in a way in which is constant turmoil. The reason being, remember, narcissistic individuals go after highs. They go after what makes them feel good. They go after new supply. They go after shiny new toys and objects. So what happens is your life as a child is constantly in turmoil and fluctuation. I speak for myself. My dad was narcissistic. Textbook. Okay, he cheated on my mom a bunch of times. He left her a couple of times. And when it came to providing that stability, roof over my head, etc., we were always living under threat of eviction. There was about 5 to 6 years in which we were getting visits by the city marshal, or we were getting notes tacked to our doors stating, hey, you've got 3 days to vacate the premises. And then we'd have to run down and go to court and fight for our apartment, right? And when I say we, I mean my dad or my mom. Now, when he left the last time, when he discarded me and my mom, I was 13 at the time. He not only went missing, like he just disappeared, he also emptied my mom's bank account, stole the money, left her with 87 cents, and didn't tell her that he had not paid the rent for 8 months. So she went to the mailbox, and this was in the day in which everything was done by mail. Email wasn't that big of a thing. This was 1999, folks. She goes to the mailbox and she sees, an eviction notice in there like, hey, you got to get out. So she had to run to the court. She had to run to welfare. She had to get what's called jiggets and one-shot deals and all this and get her rent paid to keep the shelter over her head. Okay? Now, in addition to always having to live under the threat of losing our place, we never had enough money. My dad was working, but he would take the money and spend it on everything else but what he had to do. And this was because he was chasing after new supply, new women, or, trying to get in good with new friends and this and that. Now, I've seen other narc or children of narc parents have to deal with instability. They're always having to move to new places, or a new partner is being introduced to them every few months, or they're having to deal with, food shortages or this or that, or having to deal with their parents, dealing with addiction issues, etc., and so forth. These are all issues that they've had to deal with, and that lack of stability led them to these children growing up either imitating these narcissistic tendencies, and they themselves growing up into narcs, or having a scarcity mindset, of which I was a part of for a very long time, in which we have trouble saving, we have trouble thinking of tomorrow, because we were so used to living under threat and duress of today, that was like, hey, you know what? No, I don't want to, save for tomorrow because you know what? I never experienced having enough money in the bank, right? Or we become super penny pinching, super controlling with our money because we never want to experience that pain again, right? So again, the number one thing you got to know about a narc parent is you're not going to have stability. You're not going to find it with them. To have stability requires you to have empathy and requires you to be disciplined enough to stick with something even when you don't feel like it. And narcs have a hard time sticking with things when they don't feel like it anymore. The moment things get hard in their life, or they lose interest in the relationship they're in, or they lose interest in pretending to be good family people, that's it. They throw it out the window. And if they have children involved, well, those kids get thrown into the shuffle too. They don't care. So, the second thing that you're going to know about narc parents is you as a child are only as good as the supply that you can give. What does that mean? If you're doing great in school, guess what? They want to be all on top of you. They want to show you off to the world. They want to brag about you, say, yeah, this is my child, blah, blah, blah. But the moment you're going through hard times, or you're going through a rough time, or, you're going through a growth spurt in terms of like you're mentally, emotionally changing, like if you're an adolescent and you're kind of bucking a little bit, right? Next thing you know, they don't care about you. They don't want to know you. They don't want to invest that time in helping you walk through those hurdles. You may be going through a rough time in life, say even as an adult, and they're not interested in picking up the phone and talking to you, or giving you that advice or that counsel or that shoulder to cry on or whatever. They don't care. Remember, it's about supply. If you're not giving them good supply, whatever. They treat the people in their lives like this. You, even though you are their child, it is absolutely no different. When I was going through a rough time in my teenage years, mind you, I never smoked, I never drank or whatever, as a teenager. But I was bucking authority a little bit. I was cutting class. I was out here, making a little bit of a fool of myself. You think I could find my dad? No. When I was going through girl trouble and relationship issues, as if I knew. You think my dad was around? Nope. But when I graduated high school, when I graduated college, oh yeah, he was like, oh yeah, that's my son. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? You're only as good as the supply that you get. The third thing is that you will be used as a flying monkey. What's a flying monkey? Well, if you look at the movie called Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West or the East? I think it's the Wicked Witch of the West, I think. It's been a while. But anyway, she was out there trying to get the main character, Dorothy, because Dorothy had ruby slippers. And in one part of the movie, she found where Dorothy was at, and she had these flying monkeys, literally, go and attack Dorothy to get the ruby slippers, right? Flying monkeys are people that are in the orbit of the narc and will be asked to do the narc's bidding. Now, you as a child, you're going to be used as a flying monkey. When you're younger, you're probably going to be used to spy on the other parent. You're probably going to be used to relay messages to the other parent. You're probably going to be used to smear the other parent, right? Like, for instance, you could be in a custody battle. Like, say, for instance, your narc dad and mom, and your regular mom are in a custody battle. Well, guess what? Now your dad is telling you, go lie to the judge and say that your mom touched you. Or vice versa. A lot of times narc moms tell their kids, go tell the judge that your dad touched you inappropriately. Even if that, that's not true. But guess what? They don't want to lose custody or share custody. So now they telling their kids, they telling you, lie on the other parent, right? That's a flying monkey. When you're older, you're an adult, and the other narc parent is getting older, less attractive, they running out of options in the dating pool. Guess what? They hitting you up. Hey, does your mom ever think about me? Does your dad ever think about me? My dad did it. Listen, a couple of years before he passed, he was on his third divorce. he was already talking, living with somebody else, didn't tell me. He was like, shh. But he would email me, hey, how's your mom doing? Just want to let you know, she was the only woman who ever truly got me. And I miss her, and tell her that I love her. And find out if she's willing to take me back. He was living with somebody. Okay? Now, back then, I was smart enough to not engage. And I said, listen, Dad, if you're trying to get back Mom, look, I wish you all the best of luck. Honestly, she not with it. And look, I don't got no horses in this race. You do what you got to do, but you got to reach out to her directly. And that's how I prevented myself from becoming a flying monkey in that transaction. So, the fourth thing you got to know is you will be triangulated with your siblings. Let me say that again. You're going to be triangulated with your siblings or cousins or other members of the family, even with your friends, right? And mind you, they're going to do this with other people, with your siblings too. If you think that you're the only victim in this situation, negative. They triangulating you versus your brother versus your sister, and they triangulating them versus you. Things like, oh, why couldn't you be like your brother? Or why couldn't you be as successful as your sister? Or your sister's smarter than you, she got it. Or that's why I have her doing this and that, because you will never be X, Y, and Z. Okay? I've seen this played out. Now, I'm an only child that I know. Anyway, if you're related to my dad or something, leave a comment below. I'd love to connect with you. But I'm an only child, so I never had to deal with that. But I've seen that happen in other instances. I have friends who have narcissistic parents. They are textbook narcs, and they get triangulated all the time. They get put down all this and say, well, let me compare you with so-and-so. Your brother gives me better gifts for Christmas. Your sister is doing better financially than you. Like, really, what? We all siblings. What? Let me tell you something else. Narcissistic parents will triangulate children versus their half or step siblings, step brothers, step sisters. I've seen this happen. Narcissistic ex will say, I don't give a damn about this kid. I prefer my kid. Right? I've seen them say it. I've seen them say it in a way in which is like right there. The mask just drops in front of a kid. And it's like, oh my God. This is why, and I gotta pause this for a second. If you have kids from a previous relationship and you get involved with a narcissist, yo, they're gonna wind up hurting your kids. Okay? They're gonna say stuff, they're gonna act in ways that are gonna make your kids feel less than the child that they had with you. Guaranteed. And it's not because your child is better than the other children, but they are gonna say things and do things in such a way that they're gonna crush your children's spirit. That's why if you're involved with a narcissist and you get out, you got to stay away from that person. Not only protect yourself and to protect your heart, but you got to protect your kids too. Of course, you got to teach your kids, if you have, if it's a blended family, yo, you guys are all siblings. You guys got to all look after each other. When I'm old and gone, you guys are going to take care of each other. But guaranteed, if you are in a relationship with a narcissist and y'all have a kid together or kids together and you have kids with somebody else, They triangulating all the time. Okay? That's just how they work. All right. Number 5, the fifth thing you got to know is you're going to be scapegoated and blamed for your narc parents' bad choices. What do I mean by that? They're going to say, well, I wasn't happy. Mind you, they out here cheating. They out here running around. They out here breaking up the family. And they're going to blame you. In maybe not direct ways, they'll do it subtly, like, I had to be happy so you could be happy, right? It's like, wait a minute, you out here rolling up and chasing after Cheryl from accounting because you trying to make, what? No, I'm not to blame for your bad choices. Or they're going to say things like, you know what? you never really liked your other parent anyway. I've heard that said before. Or you weren't really close to them anyway. Like, invalidating your feelings, invalidating how you loved the other parent. You're going to be blamed and you're going to be scapegoated for their bad choices. Okay? Remember, narcs don't take accountability and they don't take responsibility for themselves. They don't take responsibility for their actions. They blame everybody else because that's what helps them sleep at night. They know they acting like straight up devils out here. They know they going around breaking up homes and, hurting children and hurting good people. They know this, but in order to put themselves to bed at night, they out here blaming. They'll blame your other parent, and they'll blame you for the bad choices they make. It's just the way it is. Okay? No, the sixth thing you got to know, your growth is going to be discouraged. Let me say that again. Your growth is going to be discouraged. That looks like them not taking you for tutoring when you're in elementary school. That looks like them not encouraging you to start a new career or an entrepreneurship or to go all the way in your job. That looks like them not paying for college or not helping you figure out how to pay for college. That looks like them not encouraging you to take responsibility, right? What does that mean? Well, it may look like they're a cool parent, right? But they're not enforcing chores on you, right? Or they're not showing you, hey, listen, if you want X, you got to do A, B, C, and D, right? If you want this new game system, you got to work X amount of hours, or you got to do X amount of chores for X amount of weeks. Or you got to get up on a certain time and make your bed and this and that, right? They're the cool parent. They're like, yeah, go ahead. You could be on the iPad all day. You could be on the PS5 all day, PS4 all day. You could be, theater, whatever, just do you. And they don't care. And they're not checking. They're not looking to see what you're doing. Yeah, that may look like, oh, they're the cool parent. Oh, man, I love. No, it just means that they're not looking to help you grow. You know why they don't want you to grow? It's because if you grow, you have the potential to be better than they are when you get older. And they don't want that. Remember, narcs can't have anybody else take their shine. Narcs can't have anybody else better than them. Even if it's their own kid. You should want to have your children grow up to be richer, stronger, more emotionally and mentally stable than you. Sound, running stuff in this world. You should want that. But listen, narc parents don't want that. They don't want that. They want to be the belle of the ball and they want to be the top of the show. They want that. That's their right, not yours. And if you try to move in, if growth, they're going to shoot it down. All right. So the seventh thing is, you're going to be treated like an infant. Now, I noticed this with adult children of narcissistic parents. And I'm talking about adult children who are like in their 50s and 60s. And their narcissistic parents are still alive and they're still giving them heck. Okay? They're going to be like, what are you doing? Where are you going? How come you're doing this? How come you're doing that? Mind you, these adult children are grandparents themselves. And narcissistic parents are still treating them like children. You're going to find that. They're never going to treat you as an adult. They're never going to treat you with respect. They're not going to treat you as even as an equal. Once you hit to be a certain age in your 20s and 30s, your parents should not be treating you like you're a teenager. Putting stipulations on you, putting, being respectful, yes. Demanding respect, yes. But treating you like a child? No. And narcissistic parents I've seen do this, even when their kids are grown. You know why? Because it gives them supply. When they can control, when they can manipulate, when they can put fear into you, that gives them a high. That makes them feel good. Okay? And this happens a lot. All right. The eighth thing is You're going to be ignored. Remember, this ties into you're only as good as the supply you give. Well, guess what? When you're going through a bad time, you're going to get ignored. When you're struggling in school, when you're struggling in a relationship, when you're struggling financially, when you're trying to make sense of the world, you're going to be ignored. They're not going to be there for you because you can't give them the supply that they're looking for. You can't make them happy if you come to them saying, oh, Daddy, I'm going through some problems. Mom, I need some help with something. I just need a shoulder to cry on. And it don't matter what age you are. You could be a elementary school kid. You could be adolescent. You could be a full-blown adult with kids of your own. If you're going through a rough time, don't come to them for help. And they'll try to like hide behind, well, I'm making you face your own choices and consequences. Sometimes, other times, they just don't care. Sometimes. And a lot of times they'll show that they don't care. And you're going to be out here just sitting around like, dang, I gotta figure this out. I got to. On your own. The ninth thing is your success will be diminished. Now, yes, you're only as good as the supply you give, but if you're successful, especially in the field that they try to be successful in, they're gonna diminish it. Oh, I saw you got that little job. I see you buying that little house of yours. Oh, you wrote a little book, I see. Little book. I authored a trilogy of novels. What are you talking about? Oh, word. Well, guess what? Your sister still has more money than you. Your brother has a 5-bedroom house out here. Well, guess what? You're still struggling. Your success is going to be diminished. Again, narcs don't want to have the spotlight taken from them. They don't. If they can't use your success to put the bragging rights on them, they're going to diminish it. They had nothing to do with you accomplishing a goal or dreams. Like, whatever. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, cool, kid. Even when you're an adult. And the last one, number 10, you're going to be smeared by your family. I mean, you're going to be smeared by your narcissistic parent to your family and friends and anyone else who's going to listen. Little Johnny, yeah, he was rough growing up. I didn't really have high hopes for him. Yeah, look, you know what? Consuela, yeah, she never, I knew she wouldn't amount to much. I tried, but, or they'll flat out lie on you. Oh yeah, Margarita, yeah, she don't call me. She don't love me. She don't care about me. Meanwhile, Margarita's been abused by this individual for years, and she's putting her foot down and doing grave rock because she can't take it no more. But guess what? You think the narc parent going to come out and say that? Yeah, I've been a complete jerk with my kid, and she done had it, and she putting boundaries. And oh boy, she's showing me. No, they're not going to say that. They're going to smear you. And it don't matter what age you're in. It does not matter. They're going to smear you. So anyway, those are the 10 things. Question of the day, what are some things that I missed of what happens when, or some things I need to know when a narcissistic parent, when having a narcissistic parent, what did I miss? I'm curious. I know there's a lot out there. There's a lot of people suffering with this. And remember, narcissism has been around for millennia. This is not something new that just popped up. Yeah, is it being classified as a disorder? Kind of newish? Yeah. But let me tell you something. Our grandparents back in the 40s, 50s, 60s were dealing with this. Our great-grand. The problem is it was never highlighted as much because, number one, we don't have the access to information that we do now, and we don't have the tools to deal with it as we have now. And we don't have a society that is scabberating it. as of right now. Okay? So the thing is that this has been out here. Our grandparents were dealing with narcissistic individuals for a very long time. And I guarantee you a lot of the issues that we dealing with in our generation, I'm talking about the millennials, I'm talking about Gen Z, I'm talking about Gen X, I'm talking about even the boomers, right? A lot of y'all dealing with the fallout caused by narcissistic individuals in your past. And we are reaping that. Now we have the opportunity to get help. Now we have the opportunity to shed light on it. Now we have the opportunity to move forward and grow from it. And remember, in life, you're either going through it, you're growing through it. And I hope this video is going to help you grow through it. With that being said, take care. Y'all be good. Soldier on, y'all.